Mullinger's Weekly Ramble.
Hello, my friends. It is Wednesday, the 29th of May, and you know what time it is. That's right. It is time for your favourite podcast. Well, that might be overdoing it a bit. It is time for your favourite podcast by a British comedian who lives on the Rosso Road. How's that? That sounds much fairer. This could not possibly be anyone's favorite podcast, but thank you for being here. You're my, I don't have to be your favorite, but you're my favorites. You are all my favorites for listening. I'm just genuinely excited that you're here. I am absolutely overwhelmed with the abundance of incredible questions that you have all been firing my way in the past 2 or 3 days. Um, these questions this week are, I don't know what was in the water this morning in Atlantic Canada, but you all had some kind of incredible. Maybe someone has been feeding mescaline into the water system here because the questions are out of this world. Some of them absolutely bizarre, some of them frankly utterly hilarious. And some even terrifying, but I cannot wait to get stuck in. So I'm going to whiz through what I've been up to. I think last time I spoke to you all, the last time I was verbalizing into your earlobes, I had just been to the doctor to get an X-ray. It's funny going to the hospital sometimes and how there's things going on in there that I didn't think when I went in without my paperwork. I didn't realize I was supposed to take my paperwork in, which seemed to be a problem. Lots of people were in there. In fact, the whole time I was sat in the X-ray unit, every single person that came in said they were asked, "Have you got your paperwork?" And every single person said, "No, I wasn't told. I thought it was booked in. I didn't realize I had to bring the paperwork." So there's a communication issue there, but every single person was told the same thing. Or never mind, we'll phone the doctor's surgery and get them to wait for it. I didn't know this existed anymore, and this is coming from the man who routinely watches VHS tapes. I heard this over and over. We will call your doctor and get them to fax it. There are still faxes. Who knew? I don't know how or why. I mean, tell me, are there other businesses out there still using the fax system? It's remarkable. Texting, emailing, all catching on in some places. Anyway, we are still faxing here in St. John, which is wonderful. Anyway, I got in for the X-ray. Wonderful, amazing service as ever from the wonderful people at our local hospital, the heroic healthcare workers who, as you know, I have the utmost respect and admiration and worship. I worship those superheroes, frankly. And I get the call from my doctor, Dr. McMacken, a few days later, and she says, "Yes, as suspected, your rib has indeed been fractured." And I said, "Oh, that's obviously not good. She's going to take 6 to 8 weeks to heal." And I said, "So the fracture, how's that different to like being like cracked or broken?" And she said, "All three are the same. You have all three. Whatever words you throw at me from the thesaurus, the various different adjectives that describe your rib, you have all of them. Your rib is fractured, cracked. It is broken. It is pulverized. It is decimated." It's been absolutely, it's fact. It's been fact. Your rib is fact. She didn't say that, obviously. So I have the cracked rib. It is official, and it's not too painful. So that's the news flash. There you go. See, not every story's gonna have the most amazing ending. It's a bit uncomfortable sometimes, but hey ho, what of it? So I was in last week, and I went to Moncton on Friday for a show at the Moncton Coliseum in the Legends Bar there. The last time I was there actually was for Robert Gallant's wedding many years ago. One of the funnest nights of my life. Robert Gallant, of course, is the hero that founded the Hubcap and runs the Hubcap Comedy Festival and Hubcap Promotions. A true gent of a man, but also, a beast when you need him to be. Right, that's what one requires from a comedy agent and comedy promoter. This man knows how to make things happen. He is a former Shediac cop. I know this sounds like the premise for a buddy movie. Robert Gallant was like the head of the Shediac police force, and has since then been working in comedy. He is both a teddy bear and a hard man at the same time. Anyway, I was there for his wedding a few years ago. It was a wonderful time. Had such a fun with Derek Sagan, Nikki Payne, Mandolin Donovan. Anyway, so I was back there on Friday night to do a fundraiser gig for an incredible organization called Moncton Headstart. If you don't know Moncton Headstart, you really should look it up. They've been going for 50 years, changing lives one story at a time. And basically, it is an organization designed to providing kind of essentially like trauma informed early childhood and family intervention support services to at risk children. Um, it was absolutely awe-inspiring being there, seeing the work that they do. It was founded in 1974 by the late Claudette Bradshaw, again a modern-day saint, a true Mother Teresa of a human being. She began by offering free daycare to a few economically disadvantaged children in the greater Moncton area, and her goal was to kind of with this early children was to kind of help prepare them for school. But basically, it's built from that, and now they assist parents because again, don't forget, some parents have been through trauma as children, so they haven't been prepared for. So they really are saving lives. And as we know, I mean, early childhood intervention programs have been known to show positive benefits in academic achievement, behavior, and indeed, I mean, ultimately, they're kind of like time cops because they're also like preventing. It helps children stay away from or making bad decisions. It helps people stay away from getting in trouble later in life. Anyway, I had such a wonderful time on stage. I was emceeing. I got to see my dear friend Mayor Dawn Arnold, the amazing mayor of Moncton, and just hearing all the different speakers. Tamara. Who is the president of the board of directors for Moncton Headstart? Carol Lowry, from the Margaret and Wallace McCain Family Foundation. Caroline Donnell from Moncton Headstart spoke. Doug Bradshaw spoke. All very inspiring stuff. That was just bringing a tear to my eye. And then I went up and did an hour of stand up at the end, which was I had fun, and I think they did too. But it was a really really eye opening, enjoyable, fun evening. And I stayed at the Delta Bo. I can never pronounce it. The Delta, the Moncton Delta, the Delta Beaujolais, Beaujolais. I always say it wrong. And that was as every time I've stayed there recently, it's been absolutely packed, like completely sold out. Hockey tournaments, so much so I literally could not get in the elevator basically at any point, and had to take the stairs, running up and down the stairs in a tuxedo bow tie. Um, anyway, it had an absolutely great time. And then on Saturday, my son, and I should point out, Moncton Head Start, they've they're turning 50 this year. 50 years of empowering children and families, saving lives. Lots of people are turning 50 this year. Kate Moss, Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, and best of all, my wife. So yeah, it's a great time, and it was just an honor to be there, meet so many great people, and really there was nothing more fun than doing these kind of gigs where you um, learn about an organization that you don't know about and get to have lots of laughs. So on Saturday, my son Hunter came up on the bus to Moncton to meet me, and then we went to Miramichi. I had a show at the James M. Hill Memorial High School. It was my first show in Miramichi since we filmed Brit Out of Water 2 years ago. So it was a joy to be back there. I hadn't performed in the James M. Hill High School since Nikki Payne and I played there about 7 years ago. And I remember all those years ago, we did a tour called the Dysfunctional Christmas Tour, and we went all over Florenceville, Bristol, Campbellton, Dalhousie, Fredericton. Like it was like a 10-day tour. About 2 years after I moved here, about 2016, Robert Gallant was the tour promoter. We had so much fun doing this kind of crazy out there um, Christmas show. Although I will say, it was obviously a very adult Christmas show, and I'll never forget we had a disastrous gig one night in Bathurst, and people just looked horrified, and we couldn't figure out why. And it was quite a filthy show, and in the show we do accidentally, and if you do have children in the car, cover their ears. We killed Santa in it by accident. It was like a case of mistaken identities breaking into the house. It was an actor playing Santa. Kids, if you're listening, obviously we didn't kill the real Santa, because obviously you wouldn't. Anyway, so we couldn't understand why the audience looked so horrified. And then the next morning we're having breakfast and we've got another show to do that night in the same venue. It was in that legendary place in Bathurst called Danny's. Famous for Danny's burgers and Danny's special magic sauce. That's not as dirty as it sounds. They make a sauce that goes on food. It's not Danny's not running around. And you know what I'm getting at. Uh, so we're sat there and we're like, why did that gig go so badly? We've got to do it again tonight. Oh my God. We look out the window. We see the sign outside the venue advertising the show and it says Christmas Dinner Theatre. The audience came for a family-friendly Christmas dinner theatre, and they've got me and Nikki Payne up there doing jokes about amputee porn, um, murdering Santa. I think my dog rimming joke was in there. Nikki was being Nikki. I mean, it was not supposed to be a family-friendly show. Anyway, it's one of those moments when how you sell a show is everything. Wonderful. So anyway, the best night of that tour was in Miramichi, and I remember that night thinking, wow, Miramichi audiences are bang up for it. So it was about a year after that, or 2 years after that, that I was filming I knew I was going to be filming my next DVD, and I was trying to think where to do it, and I was doing a tour date at the Vogue Theatre, which tragically has burnt down since. The Vogue in Miramichi, which was, I have to say, one of my favorite venues of all time. Very quick backstory on that. It was the Vogue has been there for decades. In fact, everyone that would come to the Vogue Theatre would say, "I had my first date here. The first time my husband fingered me was in here." So I don't know where that came from, but someone did literally. Everyone was, and the church basically it was refurbished. So the theatre was refurbished, and but still felt historical, but had all of the things. Anyway, when it was closed in 2000, and then an absolute local hero by the name of Victor Summers moved home to Miramichi. He'd been away for ages. I believe he'd been. I don't know. He'd been in the States, I believe. He is. We trained. He studied theology at the Florida Bible College. He is a pastor and the leader of the church of the East Side Church in Miramichi. Anyway, he moved home about 2010, bought the Vogue, set it up as a performing arts venue and indeed a church on a Sunday morning. So on a Saturday night, we'd do a show, and Sunday morning he'd be in there preaching. A beautiful, beautiful man. Anyway, after that amazing show with Nikki, I was like, oh my God, that's where I have to film. And interestingly, it was the very first stand-up special that I worked on with Tyler Warren Ellis. And I believe I gave him not much notice. It was a few days. I was like, I need to film this gig. And I was like, Tyler, can you pull this together? And he pulled a crew together, but it did involve us kind of leaving St. John on the day of the show, driving to Fredericton to pick up cameras, drive somewhere else to pick someone else up. It took us like 5-6 hours to get there. Did this big long show. He captured the whole thing. It's on my website. Maritime Directions is the name of the DVD. One of my favorite ever gigs, I would say. Long story short, did the Vogue two more times after that. Was due to play it in 2020 during COVID, and tragically burnt to the ground. And Victor, I mean, he's not just a pastor and a local hero. He's an entrepreneur. He owns Creative Grounds Coffee, which is one of the most gorgeous coffee shops anywhere in the world. He also has a jiu-jitsu studio upstairs above the cafe next to the new church. I mean, the guy is just an all-round hero. How did I get onto this? As always, yes. So point being, Miramichi, that was the last time I played the Moore in high school. I missed the Vogue desperately, and I have to say it's one of my favorite places. Anyway, Miramichi, there's nowhere like it. So we did the show, went great. Adam Lawden was away. Adam Lawden decided that apparently seeing Taylor Swift in Lisbon, Portugal, was better than watching me in his old high school. Oh, that's right. You know who else went to that high school? Was Judy Lozier. Heroic Judy, who played Doris. Pardon me. I do apologize. I did just burp. I'm sorry. We can't cut it because I was talking while we did it, although Reese might have a way around it. But I do apologize. It's very, very rude. But we don't edit this because it's Mullinger's weekly ramble. Now it's Mullinger's weekly burple. Look on the bright side. At least if I fart, it won't make its way into the mic. Just be thankful this isn't a sniff cast. So Adam was away. Anyone that knows and loves Miramichi as much as I do, I can update you that there is more construction in Miramichi right now there is in Montreal or post-war Baghdad after Tony Blair and Bush bombed it. More construction than post-war Germany. The Scintillion Bridge is still not finished. 10 years to replace the fucking deck. I don't know what's going on there. It's taken more time to upgrade it than to build it. But we were all in celebration mode because the local junior A hockey team, the Miramichi Timberwolves, had just won their league championship, top 4 in the country. Their first time winning the league in the team's 24-year history. So there was a lot of hockey bars around Miramichi. There's lots of stuff's been happening in Miramichi. The Stripper Cup. The Stripper Cup tournament was happening, which got me very excited. That I was telling the Stripper Cup is here, the Stripper Cup, and I was like, wow. I don't go to strip clubs, but I can appreciate the art form. Turned out it was the Striper Cup fishing tournament. Not quite as exciting. Someone's getting hook, line, and sinker, one way or the other. Studs and Divas open in downtown Newcastle, which again sounded like a strip club, but is actually a dog grooming place, I believe. Dog grooming, I believe. Yeah. And what else? Oh, well, actually, there's another dog grooming place that's also open called Barks and Recreation. It's funny how animal grooming places have become the new hairdressers for genius and hilarious pun names. Growing up, I used to love driving around England looking at hair dressing salons and seeing the names like Hairport and Curl Up and Die, DYE, all of the classics. But yeah, Studs and Divas, not a strip club. That is a grooming place. It's where the Swarmer place used to be. They used to have a lot of churches in Miramichi, but now they're all turning into cannabis shops. And there's a new posh cheese shop in Chatham. Anyway, I'm giving you all the bit. Yeah. So anyway, a lovely couple. They've Leah and Chris Martin. Chris Martin has given up Coldplay, given up making shitty music, and now is grooming dogs for a living. Stupid. How many times has poor Chris Martin, the poor Chris Martin, how many times has he had to put up with stupid Coldplay jokes? And again, I can't do any Coldplay song puns because I don't know the names of any of their songs or song. They all sound the bloody same. Barks and Recreation Dog Boarding. It's a dog boarding place, so we're not grooming. It's a kennels. Leah and Chris, they're in Barnaby, just outside Miramichi. Lovely people, sat in the front row, and we had a beautiful chat afterwards. Anyway, Leah and Chris, thanks for coming to the show. Anyone listening and wants to go and spend time in Miramichi, but wants their beautiful little puppy or doggy taken good care of, contact Leah at LC Kennels at outlook.com. So that was Miramichi. My son Hunter was there. Like I said he was selling merch and selling tickets on the door. I will point out, hats off to my to the tech team and usher team at James M. Hill Memorial High School Theatre. Without wanting to bore you with logistics, high school theatres are a wonderful option for touring performers at the bottom end of the performing. Well, any end, great for anyone. But for me, as someone that is at the bottom end of the industry, I do everything myself. It's extremely cost effective, and they have beautiful, beautiful theatres, and it's great for kids to get opportunities. And of course, the wonderful thing I will say is you get the greatest enthusiastic techs because I honestly, these kids were like better than a lot of pros that I've worked with. It was amazing. Like you turn up, they've got everything ready for you. Got the screen up, they got all the files that you sent downloaded. It was really, really, really impressive. So kudos to everyone at James M. Hill Memorial High School Theatre, and thank you for making the show go off so well. So then we drove back from the Sunday morning, stayed at the Rod, and got the rental car back. Was ready for the big Sunday house cleanup because Monday this week was obviously the Rosse town-wide spring clean pickup day. Do you remember that time about 9 years ago? I had a friend staying from England who was my friend Mark, who was director and co-writer of the film Comedian's Guide to Survival, and he came here for us to polish the script and rehearse. And it was that month where some shit show happened here in Rosse, and the spring clean date was given, but I guess no one had been actually told to come and get all the stuff. So the streets were littered with garbage um, for like a month. I remember my mate, I'm like telling him, come and visit me here. It's so beautiful. And he comes here and he was like, what the? He's like, it was literally, I mean, again, it looked like post-war Baghdad. There's just garbage everywhere, littering the streets. Total carnage. But yeah, everything was picked up beautifully on Monday. How boring is this? 20 minutes in this podcast, I'm talking about the garbage being collected. What the fuck am I doing? So that was clean-up day. What else am I complain about? I'll tell you what, yeah. I mean, anyone that's had dealings with Rogers or Bell will know the frustrating. How many times do I say It's so annoying. I had the unfortunate. My son was listening to the podcast the other day, and I overheard him listen to it. And my God, I do say a lot. So I am going to try and not say that word. Let's see how far I can go. Oh, I almost did it. It's like taking a breath. It's like Bill Burr with the F word. It rolls out. Fuck. See, I can't not do it. You know, when our internet has not been working well. We haven't had our bell box replaced in years. So, you phone up and it's like there's a system. There's a system in place where they've trained. It's like Air Canada. They've trained their staff. If someone's trying to book to go to St. John, but they clearly want to go to St. John's, Air Canada have briefed their people to not tell them. It's like, no, make them make the mistake. It's going to make us tons more money. And similarly with Bell, when someone's internet's not working, there's obviously a list of just bullshit they want to put you through to push you off so they don't have to give you the expensive new thing that actually works. So, I've been through dozens of phone calls. They even said, oh, yeah, we'll send you the new router. And they sent me, it's the exact same one. And it, for some reason, worked even worse than the old one. And you go through 50 people and eventually, and then you get blessed because the local techs in the neighborhood are amazing, know their staff. They've been, hats off to Barry, who came to my house yesterday and saved the absolute day. They know exactly what they're doing. And of course, anyway, now internet, suddenly everything in the house is actually working. So, don't give up when you're dealing with the bell over the phone. Don't give up. But again, I went through dozens of people to get there. Speaking of Barry, some of you may have seen on Saturday's newspaper, if you still see the newspaper, big article on my son Hunter's short film, The Peninsula, directed by Tyler Warren Ellis, starring Barry Arthur as my father-in-law. Massive article by a wonderful journalist by Bryce McVicker, who was originally from New Brunswick, moved away, been working for various different post-media newspapers in Ontario for about 20 years, moved back to New Brunswick a couple of years ago. He wrote the most beautiful article, so well researched, well written, brought a tear to our eyes. I framed it already. So I then Google stalked him. And turns out that this absolute legend, as well as being kind of an award-winning journalist and columnist at numerous newspapers across the country, he also has written for Fangoria, which was my Bible growing up, that got me into horror movies. He's also written for Rue Morgue, arguably one of the greatest Canadian magazines of all time. So, and in terms of this, he's exactly, I message him with the exact same age, both 46, both massive horror fans. So isn't that beautiful? That a wonderful local journalist assigned to write this article, or I believe he pitched it actually. It was all his doing. Anyway, just the fact that that's how we meet. We meet because we're chatting about Tyler and Hunter's film, and now we're going to hopefully get together and bond over movies. Speaking of movies, last night we watched a new movie, which you may have seen promoted. It's the Zendaya movie, Challengers, which is like about like a love triangle between like a failed tennis star turned coach and her low circuit kind of bottom ranking tennis player ex-boyfriend and a tennis champion husband, and about 13 years of their relationship, and it flits around through time. And I believe it was a hit, or it was a success. I don't know. It was critically a hit. The critics loved it. And Zendaya, again, I'm saying it slow because I've taken me ages. I've been calling her Zendanya. I couldn't pronounce it, but my son, obviously the kids know who she is. Zendaya, who is phenomenal in it. And I think, I mean, again, what is she, like 27? And she's already like one of the most famous people in the world. And if, well, again, I couldn't pronounce her name, but that's not saying much. And she obviously is, I believe she's Tom Holland's girlfriend in real life, or certainly is in the Spider-Man movies. She's going to be the new Julia Roberts. I mean, a kind of an incredible actress, a unique talent, extremely expressive face, very emotive, clearly absolutely fearless, as you'll tell when you watch this movie Challengers. Also huge in that she's well known by 10-year-olds and 13-year-olds, but also is in these great movies. Anyway, the movie is entertains 2 hours 10 minutes. Again, why are movies so bloody long now? 2 hours 10 minutes about three people shagging and playing a bit of tennis. Nothing should be as long as Goodfellas unless it's a masterpiece like Goodfellas, which nothing is. So if it ain't Goodfellas and if it ain't The Godfather, it shouldn't be more than 2 hours. Keep it tight, guys. Keep it tight. The Peninsula, 12 minutes. Bish, bash, bosh. Get the fucking message out there. Everyone can be home in time for tea. So anyway, watch Challenges. Lots about it frustrated me, namely the ending. But I must admit, the rest of it, I did really enjoy. Zendaya, again, like, how ballsy is this? That I was wondering why her name was just one word, Zendaya, right? And I googled it, and in 2016 she told Allure magazine that I dropped my last name because I just thought it was cool, like Cher or Prince. That is fucking balls, isn't it? Like, to literally at 20, so what would she been 20 years old, and she's going, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be so big. I mean, it's just one name, right? It's me, like just like Taylor, Cher, Prince, Maradona, right? Pele, one word, boom. And she did it, and it's working. Madonna. Oh, actually, that was another movie I watched. I watched yesterday. It was Shanghai Surprise on original Warner big box VHS. One of those movies that I remember always wanting to see as a kid, and again, never got to see. Used to look at the cover in the video shop. Finally watched it. Madonna and Sean Penn. Is it diabolical? Yes, it is. I absolutely loved it. Okay, I've got to speed this up. Hey, I said I was going to be quick, and there's millions of questions, and I've got to get off to Princess Elizabeth School shortly to watch my son Hunter play rugby. My son Hunter is co-captain of the rugby team. Can you believe that? So proud of him. He loves playing. He's so good. I love watching him, and it just makes me so proud. Like I say, as a dad that grew up, as a person that grew up not being able to play sport, not ever understanding it, and kind of just associating it with being picked on because I was so bad at it as I was at everything. Seeing him play and seeing his brother play soccer, it just makes me so happy and proud. And I can't wait to go. We're seeing him play rugby tonight at Princess Elizabeth School, which is a beautiful school. Amazing teachers there, amazing people. I did a talk there a few years ago on PD Day, and actually, yeah, amazing people at Princess Elizabeth School. I also finished watching the TV series Sugar with Colin Farrell, Apple Plus. I liked the kind of gumshoe detective, old school Bogart, Cagney style self-referential movie. I like that. There's a bloody weird twist halfway through that completely derails the show, and how you take that twist will determine how you like the rest of it. I was enjoying it up until, weirdly, I did enjoy. Close your ears if you don't want to know what the twist is. But the twist basically that comes out of nowhere, kind of out of nowhere. So he's a private dick. I love that phrase, private dick. It means private detective. Why is it dick though? What is it about private detectives and dicks? Who knows? Anyway, he's a private dick, private eye, who is looking for a missing girl. And close your ears if you don't want to hear the twist, or jump forward 30 seconds. The twist is episode 6, so you've watched 6 episodes of 10, and it turns out Colin Farrell, private detective, is, wait for it, close your ears for it, an alien. He's an alien, and there's nothing, no sci-fi in it before that. Nothing. I mean, he's injecting himself with stuff, but it could be, I was going to say penicillin, no, insulin. It could be heroin. Who knows? But no, turns out it's to de-alienate de-alienizing. Who knows what the word is? I have to ask an alien. So if you and was never, one of the reasons I could never get into the X Files as a show was that each week they would investigate something, and I like shows where they're investigating things, but how can you get into a show when every week the twist is, oh, the aliens done it? Yeah, it was the aliens. Oh, why do all these weird things happen? Oh, it's the aliens. Why did this happen? Aliens. Who did that? Aliens. What about this? Oh, that's the aliens. What about this? Oh, it's the aliens. Who did this? The aliens. It's the aliens. I mean, when the twist to everything is it's the fucking alien. Is that not just is the ultimate just cop out? Was it Raymond Chandler that once said that he had a trick when writing books, when it's like when everything's got boring in a story, when he's writing a story, just have a man walk in a room with a gun, which is genius. And I don't know, I hate cop outs. So, okay, Sugar. So if you like that, very quickly, shows coming up this weekend. I'm at the Wordspring Book Festival, Literary Festival in Moncton. I am doing a seminar on Saturday morning at the Rod in Moncton on for authors on how to market your book. Saturday night is the New Brunswick Book Awards. It is free to attend. It is at the Moncton Press Club. You should definitely come to that. I will be, as last year's winner, be presenting the award for Best Nonfiction Book to this year's winner. And my beautiful, amazing, talented wife, Pam, will be doing the keynote speech at those awards, which is a very rare chance to see her speak because she doesn't do this. And I mean, she's great at it, but she doesn't like it. So she will be phenomenal. She's far better up on stage than I am, but just isn't comfortable doing it. Doesn't anyway? So, but her commitment to literature and New Brunswick arts meant that she will do anything for the Writers Federation of New Brunswick, and the amazing Rhonda Bulmer, who runs it, asked, and Pam said yes. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. So come and celebrate authors. You can come and buy books by all of the nominees. There will be also copies of the new issue of Maritime Edit on sale 2 weeks ahead of its publication date. I've added another long bay show because I can't stay away. We had 10 sold out shows this year, so I've added an 11th on Independence Day. Well, it's Independence Day in America, so it's called Independence Day North. It was Canada Day week. So yeah, it's Canada Day week / Independence Day North, Thursday the 4th of July. Tickets just went on sale. There's about 18 left. I go to my website, I guess, for that. Me and Ethan Ash doing 4 shows at Yip Cider, and we've just added a show at the Hampton Brewing Company on the 31st of July. First I'm doing a show with that beautiful, beautiful Hampton Brewing Company. Hope to see you all there. So let's jump into the questions. It is question time. Here we go. Oh, on Sunday, the other thing we did was we were buying decking at Costco to build a fence around our garden. There's stuff happening around the house. We need to get a fence up. Got to get a fence up once and for all. It was mental buying like decking one piece at a time and lugging it through. It was about two hours of lugging decking out of Costco and loading a van. Met so many brilliant, hilarious, funny people in that time. I've got to tell you, if you want to know the true spirit of St. John, spend 2.5 hours loading a van outside Costco, and I didn't stop laughing, hugging, smiling. I'd just driven all the way from Miramichi. I was exhausted from 4 nights of doing shows, and to be honest, the most fun I had was chatting to the great people of St. John, and crucially the staff. And actually, massive shout out to everyone at Costco St. John. Great people working there. It was my mum's birthday as well on Sunday, so a lovely chat with my mum. We laughed lots, and yeah, it was beautiful. Okay, question number 1. Lovely Jane in Alma from Harvey Hall. That is Harvey in Alma, not Harvey in Fredericton. Just for those who don't know, I did a show at Harvey Hall, one of the most beautiful performing arts venues anywhere in Atlantic Canada. Harvey is a tiny, tiny town, and there's another Harvey in Fredericton. Half the audience went to the other Harvey. She has asked me, maybe I missed it, but I've never heard you talk about ever playing an instrument. Were you forced to take music lessons as a youth? Was there ever an instrument you wanted to play but never did? Good question. I mean, like most people, obviously dream of being a rock star, would love to, but no, I can't play guitar. I maybe could play the recorder at one point. If you want to see someone play the recorder really well, comedy wise, watch Dave Attell's special Hot Cross Buns on Netflix. It's brilliant. But no, my brother was played the flute for many, many years, and I can't recall if I took something up. I will say this: my parents were amazing at, and this is something that I've really tried to adopt. My parents were absolutely amazing at putting me and my brother in lots of activities to see what stuck, and there was a lot less kind of available out there for kids to do in communities and neighborhoods than there is now. So, I did I I definitely did well. I did Sunday school and I did Boys Brigade and I did Cub Scouts and Beavers and I didn't do anything sporty, although I guess at one point I may have done hockey as if that was and you weirdos call it field hockey or ball hockey. It's just hockey. What you play here is ice hockey because it's on ice, just for the record. Okay, some of you are going to be mad now. You get some shitty reviews now. So, but when I look back, so my brother was, I guess, forced to take flute lessons, and he was very good at it. I, m- I one of my some of my earliest memories is my parents forcing me to do swimming lessons, and my dad taking me to the Magnet Leisure Centre in Maidenhead every Saturday morning and making me do these swimming lessons. And actually, he always told me the story about how we were so starstruck once because the mayor of the town used my towel to like do the wave for the start of a race, and it was like the mayor used my town. And it's just funny because it was like that was like the coolest thing. It was like my claim to fame was that the mayor used my town. Now I would say about six of my closest friends are mayors in New Brunswick. Adam Lord and Brad Henderson, Dawn Arnold, well, obviously Irene Martin. There's a lot of mayors. There's a lot of mayors that we all know and love. Anyway, so no, I didn't play. I would love to. My son played guitar briefly. He played guitar. He had lessons with the amazing Chuck Teed. Then COVID happened, and he has played other things. I think my son played the saxophone last year. The dog didn't like it. She would bark like mad. I hope that answers your question. I don't think anyone wants me to play a musical instrument because it might mean I sing more. And anyone that has seen my performance of the New Brunswick song with Ethan Ash will know I should never sing. Reese Waters from Podstarter, the producers of this wonderful, if I may say, podcast. If you could only do one more comedy show, where would it be and with what audience? What an excellent question. Where would it be? And I've somewhat answered it earlier, I think, but with what is, it's funny you say with what audience, because as Reese would know, and I don't know if many people know this, in America, often what comedians do when they're on the road is if there's like an insanely loud laugher in the audience or someone that is, they will get their details or their management will get their details. And that person will be kept on file so that when they shoot a special, an HBO special, as it would have been back in the day, and obviously now a Netflix special or Prime special or whatever else, those people, they have a database of people who are known as like big fans, big laughers. They bring out a lot, and they would tap those people up. So I have to say, well, since this is hypothetical, where would I do it? It would be the Vogue cinema, and I guess to answer someone's Vogue Theatre and in Miramichi, the dearly departed Vogue Theatre, which I hope comes back. By the way, Victor Summers has not given up hope to bring back the Vogue in some capacity. What was just so weird, literally when you were sat in there, it was like you were sat in a movie theatre in the 1960s, but not in a kind of uncomfortable way. He did it all up. It was just the most gorgeous, good. I mean, I can't search in my Facebook my name and Vogue Theatre and look at the pictures. There's also a Vogue theatre in there was one in Sackville too that's also closed, looking for a buyer. Hasn't burned down yet, so still time to buy it and burn it down. No, just don't do that. Where would I do one more comedy show? It would be at the Vogue with a Miramichi audience. Is the honest answer. And there's lots of places I love doing shows. Obviously, I love doing them in St. John, hometown. Sussex is one of my favourite places to perform. I mean, I do love, Toronto Yuck Yucks downtown. I love performing in the Okanagan Valley. Um, I love comedy. I love the Comic Strip Club in Edmonton. I love Yuck Yucks in Halifax is one of my favorite clubs. There's a really electric atmosphere down there. But Vogue Theatre Miramichi is where if I could only do one more show and I had to retire afterwards or die afterwards, um, or be burned afterwards, I would do the Vogue. Lovely Priscilla Leger. Well, this is just a compliment, which I said I wasn't going to read out compliments, but it's and Prissy, and she's just the best. So she says, "Love your positive thinking of life and your energy." Thank you, Prissy. I love yours. I love your families. Congratulations to your son on his Atlantic Journalism Award. Well deserved. The amazing Mark Leger. And I love your house, to be honest, Prissy. I walk past it every day, as you know, and your house is just an absolutely gorgeous cottage. Looks like something out of a fairy tale. Okay, I am going too slow. E.L. Leslie, as a Brit, how would you describe New Brunswickers versus Nova Scotians? What are the main differences? How would you compare St. John versus similar cities in England like Newcastle upon Tyne or Sunderland? What are some things you wish the Maritimes had that England has? Okay, and the last question I've answered a lot. What do I wish the Maritimes had that England has? British pubs is the thing. A pub you can walk to, go and sit down. Everyone's in there. And I guess also, the other thing is because you have to drive everywhere here. The thing with British pubs is, you go into a British pub and you sit there all day. Not that I'm encouraging all day drinking, but I mean, everyone does that here anyway, just at the cottage or the camp or in the garden on the beach. But so as a Brit, how would you describe New Brunswickers versus Nova Scotians? I would say there is not much difference other than, and this is in all because you all know how much I love Nova Scotia and how much I love going. There are some Nova Scotians who are a little bit snotty about New Brunswick. And I have to say, check yourselves before you wreck yourselves. Sorry. But seriously, so we are all Maritimers together. What the heck are you doing disparaging New Brunswickers? How stupidly snobby is that? It's like those wankers in Toronto who shit on St. John, say. And you go, you live in Toronto. I mean, yes, great. But, it's not London. It's not Paris. It's not New York. What do you think? It's weird. There are some, not all, but there are some Torontonians who have egos beyond the worst Londoners or New Yorkers or Parisians. It's incredible the arrogance that you come across. So anyway, there are some Nova Scotians that are snobby about New Brunswick, and I find that absolutely bizarre. Like we're all Maritimes together. Yes, Nova Scotia, you just hit the 1 million mark and you've got more people, but guess what? Your property tax is going through the roof. House prices in Nova Scotia are now more expensive than many other parts of Canada. All I'm saying is, let's not throw stones. You never hear New Brunswickers slag off Nova. Here's the thing. New Brunswickers, I've never heard a New Brunswicker slag off a Nova Scotian. I always hear Nova Scotians slagging off New Brunswickers. Or not always, occasionally. So that's the thing. But main difference is there is no difference. We're all very similar, or very similar vibes. Maybe, I guess, to be completely frank and possibly maybe come across Costco, but I hope I don't. Maybe Nova Scotians are more not demanding is not the word, but know how to get what they want better. Because we in New Brunswick have got very used to giving up because with the construction projects that start in certain places that just never end, and I wasn't meaning the Centennial Bridge in Miramichi, but I am referring to certain things in St. John where it's just never going to end, and we've given. I remember when I moved here and speaking to people, and I'd be like, why don't we do this here? Why don't we do that here? And everyone I'd meet would go, oh no, don't even bother, mate. No, nothing's going to happen here. Don't even bother trying. Don't even bother trying. It's not worth it. Save yourself while you still can. Get out while you still can. There's still hope for you. We're stuck here. It's not the end of a disaster movie. Basically, every Denton is the end of a disaster movie. But going, get out while you still can. Whereas I guess maybe Nova Scotians are better at expecting things. And again, I mean, I don't want to get into an amalgamation debate, but it certainly worked in Greater Halifax. And so that's that. That was all quite controversial. I hope that wasn't too controversial. In the day, I hope it's clear that I love it here. And but when you love things, you want them to be the best they can be, right? And I think my wife loves me, and she works with me. She's very critical of me to help make me be better, and that's what I want for this place that I love. But again, cue a load of wankers on Twitter going, James Manager complaining about things in St. John when he lives 4 minutes from the border. He's not allowed to have an opinion. He's not from here, and he lives 4 minutes from the border. Yeah, so he's not allowed to have a word. The big difference between these cities and places like England and Sunderland, I mean, there are similarities, but again, I mean, I guess also like the carnage in Newcastle and Sunderland on a Friday, Saturday night, like every city. No, I'm not just being disparaging about northern ones. Um, but that buzz, I mean, you get in Newcastle, and again, a celebration of the arts. Newcastle wasn't traditionally or typically, or in Sunderland wasn't known as a arts culture and hub, and they have become it massively so. Performing arts centres, theatres, there is a huge support and love for the arts, and I think what I love about English cities, yeah, is that kind of joint respect for, hey, let's create an environment where people can go absolutely berserk and party like lunatics on a Friday, Saturday night. And let's, at the same time, conversely, provide incredible arts and culture. And really, I think if a city can provide those two things, amazing arts and culture, good healthcare, and the opportunity to party like barbarians or Vikings or Game of Thronians, you're winning. Carol Taylor, lovely to hear from you. Could you be a detective? I have art from the Future Fossil NBM show that no one can find. Future Fossil. I don't know what that means. But I could I be a detective? I would. What I might make a good detective. The ADHD could be make me like a Memento style. Like could be quite an obsessive, like one of those guys hunting the Zodiac. This might not be what you're getting at because you might be, could I be a detective? Could I don't understand the rest of the question, I'm afraid. I will say this: one of my favorite ever pranks was someone once changed my Wikipedia profile to say that back in England, before becoming a comedian, I used to work as a dog whisperer to speak to dogs who'd witnessed crimes. How brilliant is that? How absolutely brilliant is that? Imagine that walking in. It's like a dog. This dog. There's no witnesses to this mass murder. The only person that saw it is this dog. And then I come in. I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, everyone stand back. Just me and Fido here are gonna have a word. He says the butler did it. How good's that? Okay, Nessa Hubbard. Favorite places in New Brunswick and why? St Andrews by the Sea for the Kingsbury Garden, which is one of my favorite places. I guess if anyone's listening to this, I haven't had time to write. I've written a will, I guess, but I haven't told people what to do with the old corpse. What to do with the body? Sprinkle the ashes in Kingsbury Garden. Get permission first, though, because I don't want to upset Lucinda. She arrives one day and someone's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm dumping James Mullinger's ashes." "We don't want James Mullinger's ashes in there." So Kingsbury is where I'd like to be, not buried, but sprinkled. Favorite place in I mean, I could give you 1,000 reasons why I love every single spot. There's no one I don't like. Sussex is a favorite. Kingston Peninsula, Crystal Beach, seafood lover, absolutely yes. Lobster rolls, favorite summer takeout place. The pub at Crystal Beach where my wonderful father-in-law's sister works, and is it Mana? No, Barry's sister works there. Or whitetail lobster just outside near Lawnville do the amazing lobster rolls. Probably the best place to get a lobster roll would be St. Martin's from Spinneys. My dad's coming next month, so I can't wait to take him to Spinneys for a lobster roll. Catherine Howe, if you ever decide to write a novel, can you describe the plot like it's an epic movie trailer? I have no time to. I read these live, by the way, so I'm gonna. I started a novel once about a magazine journalist in London who is life is spinning off the rails, and I believe he gets framed for a model gets murdered on a photo shoot that he's on. He's being framed for it, so he's trying to find out who the killer is. So, I'll do the trailer. He's a hack on the mean streets of London. His life is spiraling out of control. Cue clip. I can't live with you anymore. You gotta stay off the drugs and the booze. I can't. I need them. Well, get out. Door slams. He's on the streets. His boss is not taking any more shit. You gotta come back with a story. You gotta get your life back on track. I can't. Cut to the photo studio. Click, click, click. Camera, camera, camera. Sexy poses, sexy poses, sexy poses. Then suddenly, there's been a murder, and only one person can solve the crime. It's Hacky McHack, the world's laziest journalist. He's spent 5 years on the party train, and now he's got to sober up in time to save his own life and find out who the real killer is before the killer ends him. Dun dun dun. Check out the new novel from annoying British comedian with stupid bushy eyebrows, James Mullinger. That's right, it's Hacky McHack, the hack from London. How's that, Catherine? I mean, I could probably do better given time to think about it. Would you read it, Catherine? Would you read that book? Okay, 51 minutes. Got to keep this under an hour. Got to get to see Hunters Rugby. 5 more questions. I'm doing them quick. Heidi Oxner. Wow, this is a deep one. What is the most difficult decisions you've ever had to make? I'd say it's whether to humiliate myself doing a trailer improvised on the spot for a book that I haven't written, or that would be quite high on the list. Most difficult decision was whether or not to leave England and move to New Brunswick and give up everything we'd built, family, friends, job. I'd say that's one of the most difficult decisions I've ever had to make. Another was when I had to. My best friend in England was my cat Molly, and she started to be very unhappy, and depressed cat. I know, and I had to drive her back to the breeder, and I mean, this is a sign you've lived a charmed life. I got to tell you. And this is the small blessings in life. I'm 46 years old, and the most I have ever cried in a day was driving a healthy cat, albeit depressed cat, from one location to another. And don't get me wrong, I've had bad days and I've lost friends and I've cried, but I cried for about 4 hours straight, 4-5 hours straight. Molly was a white Persian cat. If you want to see pictures of her, message me. And I had to, that was a difficult decision, but it was the right thing to do to take her back to the breeder. Basically, Persian cats require a lot of attention. We worked, again, it was another reason why life in England was not working out. We were working 18-hour days, and the cat did not like being at home alone. That was hard. But yeah, what a charmed life. The most I've cried in a day was driving a cat back to the place that it was really, really happy. Kathy McCardle St. Pierre. Kathy, St. Pierre, she of the most beautiful email that cheered me up. As an expat, I used to enjoy reading the Times and transcript online since they were sold. The most original digital format is not as enjoyable. What has happened to newspapers in New Brunswick? I agree, Kathy. It is not an ideal situation. I will say that, I mean, I did buy the Times and transcript print form on Saturday. It was a joy seeing the big article about my son's film about the Kingston Peninsula in there. It is very sad what's happening. I don't want to be disparaging, because also there's a lot of extremely amazing and talented and hardworking journalists on these newspapers who are not to blame for decisions made by criminal Conrad Black, jailbird, felon, still on parole. Yeah, what does his parole officer think about all this? But I will say, I agree. The website was never great before. Now it resembles I mean, it's kind of like trying to navigate the website. It's a bit like trying to watch a pirate movie online, like all this kind of pop-ups. It's not quite as bad. Well, I'd say it's what with the when you try and watch a pirate movie online, it's bad because all the pop-ups are kind of pornographic, and it's like you try and watch movies to watch dot TV is one, and all these pop-ups are like, and it's pictures of like a lady's bottom, and it'll say Sandra in St. John would love you to visit. Like it knows where you are. And so it's all popping up when you're trying to watch your Disney movie with the kids. It's not ideal. So even though it's not pornographic, what pops into all those awful kind of ads and things. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to read. What has happened is, and then trying to find the newspaper on Saturday was difficult because the Circle K's only get like 2 or 3 copies each, which clearly means there's a phase out happening of the paper, which is tragic. Um, what has happened is, I guess, post media has happened, and it's not my place to be disparaging about anyone or anything, because again, there's lots of hardworking people at post media. But I mean, Google what they're up to and what their end game is, and it's not the best, which is why we have the Mountain Minute magazine. And Kathy, I'd happily send you a free copy. In fact, if anyone's listening this far into the bloody ramble and they'd like one, drop me a line. I'll send you a copy of the Mountain Minute. It's why we do it. It's not to make money, that's for sure. So we produce a magazine about Atlantic Canada because Atlantic Canadians deserve to know what's going on, and businesses and artists and cultural people deserve to have their work highlighted and celebrated. So we do it. It's a labor of love, and I go on the road, uh, working my backside off to in order to pay for this service for the region. So support the Mountain Minute if you can. www.themountainminute.com. Speaking of amazing, talented journalists, Caitlin Dean is here. Wonderful, Caitlin, again. Again, I mentioned it before, but she and her beautiful friend Isaiah do a podcast called Living Large. You should listen to it. It is both insightful and intelligent and thought-provoking and funny. I've been thinking a lot while listening to your podcast. I know you're a journalist, and with that, are super curious and actually care about other people. What a lovely thing to say, Caitlin. What takes that coming from you, that means a lot. How do you find recording a solo podcast? What kind of challenges do you have? How do you prepare? Any weird cutout cardboard guests or anything? I have no cardboard cutouts. The only cardboard cutout I had was of myself, which was for something. Oh, my sister-in-law Judy put it outside my house when I got my citizenship during COVID, and people were honking. Laurie, lovely Laurie, runs a company for yard display signs. And Laurie Carl, amazing Laurie Carl, works for YSJ. Formerly, we all love listening to it every day on the wave. She has a company called Quiz Pamsis Lawn Signs, and it was basically saying happy James is managed as a Canadian now. Anyway, I had that stand-up display which we used for promotional things, but then my kids ruined it using it as a target for their puck shooting practice. I came back to find them using my face as the bullseye. How do I find it? I could be honest, I really enjoy. So I'm sat here at my desk, surrounded with pillows that I've just piled up around me. That is that's New Brunswick showbiz podcasting. Creating my own sound to you. I have a list in front of me. So I have the questions which I copy and paste from Facebook, which you all kindly post. I don't look at them. I copy and paste them. I paste and I read them live on air. And I have my diary open to my right, which basically I write down in my diary everything I do every day. And I just sit here and literally ramble. And I find it so cathartic, and I find it so weirdly fun. And I always think, how am I gonna fill the time? And we're up to an hour. And I think part of it is because a lot of even though what I do on stage, like a lot of life is obviously solitary. A lot of what I do is me sitting at my desk, and I go downstairs and chit chat to Pam for a bit, and then come back up. So I find this very cathartic, and also as someone with ADHD, you're always trying to get. I mean, it's one of those annoying traits that ADHDers have, where we interrupt all the time. And I see these funny memes about this, about how the fact that I saw one where it's someone doing a plank, like lying on the ground doing a plank, and the caption said, "Someone with ADHD waiting for someone to finish the sentence when they've already like predicted the end of it," kind of thing. And it's why ADHD was always in trouble. So I mean, I love this, and I really, and also because of the comments that I get and the feedback, I really do feel like I am chatting with you all right now. This is kind of what a conversation is like with me, just me banging on for hours. I mean, You know me, and I asked poor Tyler Warren Ellis sitting in a car with me for 4 hours. This is what it's like. Um, Lovely Tim Andrews. Thank you, Caitlin, for that question, and God bless you, my friend. Um, Tim Andrews, how's my French? Any dreams of gigging in French? I would love to, but I don't speak any French. Um, that's it. And I've lost gigs due to that fact, and I should learn, and I would love to. Anita Ward Boyle. How many steps do I take during a show? 10,000 plus, I would guess. You know what, Anita? Bloody, but I've been asked a million times how many I should. My wife always says I should wear one of those, what they called, stepometer, pedom, pedophile. No, it's not a pedophile, is it? What's it called? That watch thing. Anyway, counter. There's a word for it. Whatever. Uh, I would guess about 10,000. Yeah, pacing up and down the stage. I. Uh, I said I wasn't going to say any more I bet I said a million since, and now I've drawn attention to it. You're all probably finding it really annoying. There's a drinking game for you guys. Every time I say you take a shot. I should also just add as a disclaimer, don't do that because you will die. I was about to say again. I'm going to hold back. A sip of beer. Every time I say take a sip of beer. I would. There we go again. I would say 10,000 steps at least. Yeah, and I will wear one of those things. A Fitbit. That's it. I'll wear one of those things and sometimes do it. Wendy Vanessa, my beautiful friend, favorite ice cream flavor. The kids love Moon Mist and and I do quite, but I have to say it's either strawberry or just chocolate. I just love chocolate. I'm a massive chocolate addict. It would always be chocolate, and yeah, everything always comes back to just pure chocolate for me. Cindy Clark, genius. The Mrs. F word. Cindy is the amazing wife of the equally amazing Stephen Clark. And if you don't subscribe to the F word, you absolutely should. Again, talking about newspapers, actually, that's a very, very good point. I should, with callback to um, lovely Kathy, formerly of New Brunswick, now living in Florida. If you want to stay abreast of what's happening in Fredericton, subscribe to the F word, Stephen Clark's journal, periodical. Again, a self-funded, self-produced journal covering everything that's happening in and around Fredericton. Is there a place in Canada that you want to visit but haven't yet? Thank you, Cindy. And the last time I saw you, Cindy, was in January, wasn't it? The months fly by. Was it the Crown Plaza in Fredericton? And it's so nice of you to post a question. Thank you. A place to go. Yeah, there is. I am absolutely desperate to visit Victoria, Vancouver Island. There's a club there called Hecklers that has offered me a headline spot one week, any weekend I want to go. And obviously, though, just stupidly big country in Air Canada being bastards, it's just cripplingly expensive to get there. So it just doesn't make sense to go just for these shows. So I need to figure out a way, or I need to bite the bullet and go and do what I've done elsewhere and try and go there and do the shows and consider it a brand builder. But right now, I'm not really in a position to be, burning cash for fun. But I hope to get out there. Victoria, BC, loads of Brits out there. So I imagine the shows would be quite fun doing jokes about the Brit moving here. And the other place I'd love to go, slightly closer to home, Cindy, is Gramanan. Can you believe I have not been to Gramanan? Haven't done a show there. Haven't even been there. And the fact that the guy that runs the Gramanan Ferry is to thank for me getting a gig for the Canadian Ferry Association in Gatineau, Quebec last year. I can't. Again, my love of ferry boats. I haven't been on the bloody best ferry of all, the Gramanan Ferry. It's embarrassing, Cindy. In fact, don't tell anyone I told you that I haven't been to Gramanan. So yeah, Victoria, BC, on Vancouver Island, and also I have friends from here, Jackie and Chris Albanati, who moved from here to Victoria, BC, so I could see them. Anyway, I hope that answers your question, Cindy. Give Stephen when you go and give him a big, big kiss on the lips, and then afterwards say, that's from James Mullinger. Then he'll say the F word. Josh Wells, are you a physical media collector? If so, what do you collect, i.e. VHS, steelbooks, vinyls? And if you could open up a movie rental place, what would you call the store? What a great question. To answer the first part of the question, Josh, I absolutely am a physical media collector. What do I collect? All of the above. VHS, Blu-rays. I do have some steel books, although I don't collect them per se. Vinyl, tons of vinyl records. I collect books. I collect movie stills. I collect movie posters. And thanks to, again, amazing, beautiful, brilliant Julie Wood for kindly sharing some of her collection with me a number of years ago, which really amped up my collection. VHS is my main thing. If I had to get rid of, well, my trauma collection, I have a big collection of trauma movies. Like I have almost every release of Toxic Avenger, Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, Surf Nazis Must Die, Nymphoid Barbarian in Dinosaur Hell, Sergeant Kabuki Man. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll know. If you don't know, you're probably listening thinking, what the heck is he going on about? But then you've probably been thinking that for the last hour. So yeah, Josh, yeah, what would my video store be called? Well, you know what it would be called? My video store Flicks. I believe there was a Flicks in Rosse. But my video store growing up in Maidenhead was Video 83. It was called because they rented videos and it opened in 1983. It was the best video store in the world, and I have to say, I would probably call it Video 24. I would do, Josh, if when I make my first like meal, I will open a video shop, even if it doesn't. Maybe it's a cafe. You know what my dream is, actually. I'll be honest with you all. My dream, I love trains. I love museums. I love train museums. I love video shops. I love cafes. My dream would be to buy the Rosse train station, the empty Rosse train station, and turn it into a railway museum devoted to New Brunswick rail, a video shop room set up exactly like an old video shop from the 80s, a mom and pop one, not the Blockbuster. That's the thing, we all remember Blockbuster as like, oh, nostalgic Blockbuster. Blockbuster was the devil. Blockbuster was the Netflix of then. And we all know the famous story of how Netflix no, other way around. But anyway, Blockbuster was offered the opportunity to buy Netflix. Oh, Google it. But Blockbuster put a lot of mom and pop stores out of business. Like they were evil. I mean, now we're all nostalgic for them, but I'm nostalgic for the mom and pop stores. Like, so yeah, Video 24, or I guess the Maritime Edit, the Maritime Video. No, you know what I would call my video shop? I would open one up in the Rosse. So I'd have a video store, and the sign would just say in 80s neon, like Stranger Things type 80s font. It would just say where the video store used to be. How's that? Nathan, will I be doing a show in Miramichi again? I will, absolutely. It was so much fun on Saturday night, and I'll be back. My friend Tolu, how you doing, mate? Tolu Omatoso, wonderful, wonderful man, great friend, great. He and I met through our other mutual friend, Dr. Ansar Hassan, and I don't believe I'm breaching any kind of patient or doctor confidentiality to say that Dr. Omatoso is a world-class, actually world-renowned and world-famous surgeon doctor based here in St. John, and he was my mother-in-law's doctor, and he's a truly great man, and his son Tolu is equally great. Tolu, is it finally coming home, mate? He's of course referring to Euro 24 that is happening this June. I believe I think it's June 14th through to July 14th. Germany are the host nation, and they qualified automatically. It's the first time Germany staged the European Championship since reunification, I believe. So is it coming home? England, I love England, obviously. I had to say, as a Crystal Palace fan, that Crystal Palace have 4 players in the England squad for the first time ever. Palace are having a whole new resurgence, renaissance. My mate Paul Field has been a Palace fan since birth. He used to bang on about Palace for years. And we have everything in common except football. And then suddenly last year, I went to a football game for the first time, saw Crystal Palace play, fell in love with the team. Old Roy Hodgson was running the show then. He's a legend, but he's lost the plot, you know. So new manager came in and it's completely shaken up. Watch Palace playing now is just Palace beat they beat an amazing team recently. It was a brilliant game to watch. 4-0. Love Palace. Palace. Anyway, is it coming home? I mean, yeah. Let's hope for the best. My favorite football memory ever was Euro '96. Well, it wasn't favorite, but family together watching it, and of course, Gareth Southgate tragically missed the penalty, and he was, of course, there for our players in 2021 when same thing happened again. I'll be watching. Tolu, we need to figure out how we're going to watch it in St. John. I know we were going to speak to Brits, but let's find out which bar in St. John is going to show the British. It's going to show the Euros, and let's watch it. And if you want to watch a documentary about what happened last time the Euros happened in 2021. Watch that. But yeah, my prediction, or no, my dream would be, it ends England v Germany, just like 1966 again. And let's see what happens. Keith Anderson, what don't I like about living in New Brunswick? Oh, good question. I'll come back to that next week, Keith. That's a big one. I think about that. Stephen Cook, legend Stephen Cook, journalistic icon and hero. Again, talking about great journalists. One of the best, done more for the arts and culture sector in Atlantic Canada through his tenure at Chronicle Herald. Favorite nod, he's noticed, I posted a picture of my childhood bedroom recently. It was a picture of me and my childhood bedroom with my Star Wars collection, my AT-AT, the poster and my VIP pass for Nebworth Oasis in '96, I think it was, a train spotting poster, or my VHS collection. Basically, my Jackie Brown poster, Samuel L. Jackson poster. Again, Samuel L. Jackson looking over my shoulder there. Don't think in a million years I ever thought I'd end up meeting Samuel L. Jackson, but years later I did have that pleasure. My Noddy collection is in there. And Stephen Cook has asked my favorite Noddy character besides Noddy. I'm not sure if he's trying to get me cancelled by seeing if I say the wrong the wrong thing. Oh my god! At the very top there, you can see on the shelf 2 Pulp Fiction videos. One is the official VHS rental release of Pulp Fiction, and next to it is a VHS pirate of Pulp Fiction that my dad got me for Christmas. Because we went to see the movie numerous times at the cinema, and then for Christmas he got me one of those camcorder VHS bootlegs off a mate at work. And interestingly, I still have it. And when I watch Pulp Fiction, I still like to watch the old pirate with all the, foreign writing on the screen and all that. What was I saying? Noddy character, yeah. If you know what I'm talking about. If you know Noddy, you know what I'm talking about. When I say I'm not gonna, it would have to be big ears, because I have big ears inherited from my Polish grandfather, Jerzy Plaszajska, and everyone at school used to call me Big Ears. So Big Ears, my favorite character, and if not, Mr. Plod. Randy Garland, what makes me laugh? Who makes me laugh? Why haven't I gone on Canada's Got Talent? It's a good question. I had never really thought about it. And then I saw Travis Lindsay absolutely storm it, make Canada proud. I wouldn't rule it out. And on that theme, I would say, if you want to look for a great comedian, my favorite comedian in the world of all time is Frank Skinner, British comedian. Look him up. Again, if you like British comedy, like football, another great British comedian to look out for would be right now. I mean, Nikki Glazer's roast of Tom Brady is obviously gone down in history. What makes you laugh? I'm going to come up with a list of great comedians next week for you. But my favorite comedian right now, and who makes me laugh, I'm going to say Travis Lindsay. Follow Travis Lindsay, go and see him live. He made Atlantic Canada proud on Canada's Got Talent, and I love him. What came first? Kimberly Dupois has asked what came first, the chicken or the egg. I don't know who came first. I haven't seen that porn movie. And why is the sky blue? Because it's a blue movie. Thank you very much. This is the longest episode ever. I apologise. I thought it was going to be the shortest one, but just goes to show anything can happen in Mullinger's weekly podcast. If you want to know any further info on any of the stuff that I've talked about, or if you're affected by any of the issues raised in today's episode, please email me comedy@jamesmullinger.com. Thanks for listening. I love you all very much, and I really appreciate all these awesome questions. And like I say, I enjoy this so much. And without you listening, I'm just a madman sitting at his desk talking to no one. So thank you. Bye.
Challenger's Weekly Ramble.